Voices from behind the fence. I am the keeper of the spoons. There's a Hard Times mug in my locker. It's packed full of spoons. A couple of years ago, friends of mine who were lifers started to receive parole dates. Near their release, they'd begun giving away their worldly goods. I'd be asked, what do you need? Being a minimalist, there isn't much I need. But keeping in the spirit of it, I'd say, just give me your favorite spoon. That's how it started. Now the Hard Times mug in my locker is loaded with these plastic spoons, all types of them. The other day I was rummaging and I pulled out the mug. In the bright light, it struck me, damn, there's a lot of spoons in this mug. The thought crept in, I've been here too long. All these spoons later, I'm still here. I've never had much time for self-pity, so I dismissed the thought and considered the spoons. Looking at the mug, I evaluated the space it was occupying. It occurred to me that the space could be better used. After all, I only needed one spoon, two at the most. I decided to give the spoons away when another thought intruded. Every one of the spoons represented untold stories of pain. Attached to each spoon is a memory of the man it belonged to. Each of these men may have caused the death of one, two, or more people. Every one of these spoons is a memorial to all the agony these deaths brought. As the caretaker of the spoons, it's clear that I can't just discard them. So, when it's my turn to be released, I will choose the next keeper. Till then, I am the keeper of the spoons. Thank you. I meant to say this as well. If you want to hold off, you'd be clapping a lot. So just if you want to wait, I'll let you know when the first act is over, and then you can applaud, and then we'll do the second half. But thank you.
My name is Slater, William Slater. My friends call me Bill or Billy. They know me long enough. Here I'm just Slater. Sometimes call me Spam. A lot of guys in the joint end up with a nickname. I got mine because my people on the outside would send me quarterly packages. And there was always an issue of spam in the package. Most people think it's crap, but I love it. Anyway, if you really want to eat crap, try some of the slop they serve us here. My bunkie calls me Bill, but that didn't start till after we've been bunkies at least 6 months. Last week, my wife brought me my nephew to see me. Last time I saw him, he was 3. He's 15 now. He'd been watching this dumbass show on TV called Lockup. He wanted to know if prison was really what he'd seen on TV. I told him it was bullshit, except nobody wants to be here. Hell, even the people who are being paid to be here don't want to be here, unless they're getting overtime. Wait though, the rabbits. The fucking rabbits want to be here. They're everywhere. It's the biggest damn rabbits you're ever going to see. And nothing seems to scare them. They even know the prison routine. When an alarm goes off, they get down with everyone else. But even the rabbits are taking a risk in living here. You gotta watch out for the hawks come feeding time. But they love this fucking place.
My eyes strain to focus. The blinding lights of Midway and the array of reflections before me strike me with brutish savagery. The concave surface of one of the mirrors sharpens from a stormy tempest of grays and blues to reveal my likeness. The motion in the mirror nauseates with every subtle movement, so I hold my breath to enhance clarity. My eye level, my shifting feet finally come to a halt, and as I gaze downward, I can see the awkward inversion of my mildly amused and more than mildly disturbed face. The effect is dizzying, so I start to back away. Outside of the focal point, the image began to wash with colors once again, but not in the former whirlwind. The happy cacophony of the music and laughter that flooded the carnival dissolved. The lights vanished as time stood still. With each inch I edged away from the toppled reflection, I was met with a new episode, down image. A husband overlooking an adoring wife to grasp addiction. A father chasing treasure while his priceless children cried for his attention. A Christian who shrank from the light to feast in dark corners. One shameful image giving way to the next like a sledgehammer to the chest. Overwhelmed with anger and regret, I slam my eyes shut and lock my knees to keep from falling headlong. My wrists and ankles ache as the tension releases. Gradually, my eyes open again to the bright lights and colors as the joyous sounds embrace me once again. A few cleansing breaths, and I'm centered. The phantoms of my past retreat behind the veil. Only a memory again.
The teeth. It's always the teeth that my eyes fixate on first. Not the eyes or skin or hair or body shape. I can't help it. Teeth are an attention getter. You don't forget bad teeth. And JR had bad teeth. Well, truth be told, it was one bad tooth. But, ooh, that fucker was a doozy. I mean, the tooth was chipped down the middle. It wasn't so much a tooth as it was a dagger, razor blade sharp. Every time JR smiled, I stared deep and hard at that front tooth. Both curious and disgusted. I concentrated on that tooth and its color, a stalagmite of yellows. I stared at that tooth, and that tooth stared back at me. Its mischievous grin, shades of mustard and butter and pus. I sat staring at that tooth, wondering how it came to be cracked in half. Was it from a fight? A barroom brawl? A prison riot? Did he chip it eating his favorite dinner? Did it happen as a child or an adult? Was it always this vile shade of yellow? Jesus! That tooth consumed my thoughts morning and night. The staring became a problem. I couldn't turn away when JR ate. It was a primetime matinee, and this tooth was the main attraction. I imagined that tooth shredding food apart like a great white, ruthlessly and aggressively. JR didn't chew food. Oh, no. He pierced holes in it one by one until it washed away down his gullet. That damn tooth. I wondered what kind of woman JR dated. Did she have bad teeth too? I mean, maybe she didn't mind and turned the other cheek to that downward triangle. I mean, it was the kind of tooth that even on a cartoon character would have seemed bizarre and unreal.
I don't want to talk about the possibility that she's not okay. I don't want to talk about how hard a time she's having without support of a man who treats her the way that she deserves, who loves her. I don't want to talk about where on her body she showed me where her bruises, whenever she survived the night with her tormentor. I don't want to talk about why I won't give up on her, though I can't see, speak, or touch her whenever she wants. I don't want to talk about this chance when unrealistic, surprising relationships I resisted initially, the reason I had hope, could be decimated by outcomes that frightened me. I don't want to talk about the pain, trepidation, and anticipation of the worst possible scenario, which could involve being hurt and alone. I don't want to talk about what she used to mean to me, how we felt about each other. I don't want to talk about losing interest upon the realization of the worst occurring and her future gone. I understand the toll of my heart would sustain, but I want her to be happy and thriving, with or without me.
Some things never told that I'm learning as I get old. Value those who give you time in times of adversity. Anybody will give you time when things are good, but who's going to be there when you're in the ER committing crimes with the same, out of sight, out of mind? You'll be remembered in the morning and forgotten at night. You see, doing time is a lonely fight. Where one is forced to internalize your cognitive mentality. In here, so many things are happening, but to me, it's September 7th, the day I got busted. day I realized the closest ones couldn't be trusted. The little things in life are the things that matter. However, I thought it was my pockets getting fatter. Some of the coldest stories ever told are rarely ever told. Like doing time and witnessing your mother getting old, or hearing your pops on the phone, losing your home, and a year into the sentence, finding out your baby mama's getting boned. Talking about, it's your fault, you left me alone. Preliminary hearings, pre-trials, no one sitting in the aisles to show support. Come on, homie, you know what time it is. We too busy to come to support you in court. Police knocking on your door, life sentences, praying to the Lord, me, not my knees on the floor. Division between the rich and the poor, the system talking you have and still wanting more. Jesus won't stop knocking, and I'm still rejecting the Lord. Having those I grew up getting knocked down by the sword. Who knows the rules? The flesh never gets full. Humanity stuck in the rat race, chasing their own tails, even though they always fail. Keeping up with the Joneses, living up to the appearance that is an illusion. Outside looking, I see a lot of confusion, aches, trauma, pain, but living the belief that you have to kill for your name. If you ask me, that's insane. Break the chain. Prison pipeline. Major corporations linked up with authorities, talking about our education. How is it keeping me from books, a consequence for the bad things I did?
When I look out on the yard, I see blue in the distance. I see the sun above the people. I see the isolation from society. I see the towers that surround us. I see those people that can go home and those who can't. I see a place where time stands still. For over 18 years, I have been stuck in the system, and I want to get out. I often wonder, due to the mistakes I've made in the past, can I ever overcome them and be the person society wants me to be? Can I ever be the person I want to be? Do they both mingle, or do they clash? Will I ever go home? Or will I have to stay in some prison until the end of my days?
I've been incarcerated nearly all my adult life. From time to time, I served in juvenile prison till the present. As a way to combat the depression, I read a lot. Sci-fi, fantasy, crime, or adventure and horror, lots of horror. I read something every day. Some of the books are good, some bad. Every once in a while, a Mark Twain, Jack London, or John Steinbeck would slip through the cracks. Often I'd pick up a book by one of the masters, out of curiosity. But more often than not, my desire for instant gratification would compel me to read stories of less literary gravity. From time to time, my natural inclination to write would bubble up through the tar pits of my immature resiliency. I'd write down an idea that I would never develop. Writing wasn't important to me in the beginning. It was too much work, and I preferred being out in the yard playing softball or basketball. That's the way prison was for me. I didn't want it. I couldn't have it right away. I was shallow, arrogant. I existed on the surface, and my superficiality crippled me and killed anything that was good inside of me. The true crime was that I never learned how to care or love. Anything that was worthwhile or would take discipline was beyond me. I squandered everything. Bitterness and anger, wrought by an emptiness that consumed my spirit, disabled me in a way no material possession, drug, or sexual exploit could sate. I was lost, directionless, bound for a perpetual cage or an early grave. On October 15, 2004, I struck out. I knew the drugs and gun I was arrested for were going to cost me the rest of my life. I tied a sheet to the third bar of my cell door and tried to kill myself. I remember kicking and strangling it. I was going out, down to an all-consuming blackness. I was in the last second of life when a voice came to me in my head. Its tones were warm and mellifluous, a voice filled with compassion and understanding. Knowing that in my current state, a life in prison was more than I could handle, the voice opened up to this doomed soul and let me in on a secret, telling me that it knew beyond an inkling of a doubt was the absolute truth. Brian, the voice said, don't do this. Take yourself down from the noose, clean yourself up, walk the narrow path and work hard, and I promise you there are good things in store for you. It was a voice that made me fight for my life. I won, but barely. I talked with a rasp for a while, felt the pain. Slowly I recovered from drug addiction. I grappled with a multitude of negative repercussions after my arrest and the emotional devastation I caused the people who loved me the most. It was a difficult time, perhaps the hardest of my life. The near death from my suicide attempt had opened my eyes to my shame, guilt, and remorse. For the first time, I became acutely aware and sympathetic to the profound ripple effect that my actions had on others. I swore an oath from that point forward, I would spend all of my time, every waking moment of my life, concentrating my efforts on being a better person. I started writing.
Hey, Mom! Wherever you are, I hope you're happy. I used to pray for just one more conversation with you, especially when I was young. I stopped doing that because I realized it's unrealistic. Although I do have a million questions, but most of all, I would just like to hear your voice one more time. I've been here 44 years without you. And one thing I've learned is that this is a cold world. And it's even colder without the unconditional love of a mother. I find myself thinking about you, even when I try not to. For instance, I was watching a movie this morning about women giving up their kids for adoption, and some even choosing to abort. I'm very grateful that you didn't choose to do either. But I've got to know, Mom, what was it that you were going through that made you want to take your life? Was it really that bad? Please, tell me something, because I really got to know. Whatever you were going through with your sister Susie, she took it out on me. So maybe this is an area where you can provide me with clarity. This woman has made it clear that I look like you, and her anger towards you continued with me. I don't know how much time we have left, so I definitely don't want to spend the time we have talking about her. I want to tell you about your grandkids. Yes, all 6 of them. All 3 of my girls have components of you in them, including your name and your thick, curly black hair. You also have 8 great-grandchildren, and in spite of my dysfunction, they are all healthy, happy, and well cared for. It's almost like an old dream, but I still remember you. Your laugh, your smile, and our walks together. I pray that I never forget any of those things. Most of all, I pray that you have found peace and love, and that you are enjoying the company of our ancestors. I'm almost home again, and I promise to do better this time and do my best to honor you and make you proud. I've faced my demons and bared my soul, so now my thoughts are clear. Until I see you again, you will always be with me in my heart and spirit. I love you.
I lay all morning in my bunk staring at the ceiling while sipping cup after cup of cheap coffee. My cellmate was still snoring away as the lunch cart rolled into the building. The rattling wheels stopped. A long pause followed before the workers shouted, "Chow on the floor! Chow's on the floor!" Soup of the day questions echoed back. "What's the soup? What kind of soup is it?" "Soup!" The question was asked every day repeatedly. And why it even mattered, I had not a clue. Responses could be, "It's piss water today, boys!" And inmates would line up regardless. The workers, who were also inmates, scrambled to answer the question. Hell, they were curious too. They lifted the lid and peered inside. "It's Pozzole!" Soup mania erupted. Inmates cheered and pounded on cell doors. People lost their fucking minds over Pozzole. My cellie, an aging convict with a bad back and arthritic knees, leapt off his bunk with the vigor of a teenager. He grabbed his spoon and stared out the cell door window, mumbling to himself, His body twitched with so much anticipation you'd think he was being released. The building roared with demand, cell after cell, shouting to be released. Top tier, no, it's bottom tier, top, bottom. When the doors finally slid open, my cellie bolted. Everyone did. Grown men, young and old, strong and weak, sprinting and hobbling to get in line for soup. The mad dash invariably came to a 40-car pileup, crammed in line, spoons in hands, big smiles spread across their unshaven faces. It's pozole. Inmates consumed soup at breakneck speeds. They ate and drank and slurped and gulped. Hands worked like paddle wheels to scoop the greasy, blood-red broth into bellies. There were endless mms and ahs, lips smacking and back of the hand wiping. Heads everywhere were tilted back, trying to savor the last remaining drops of pozole. White shirts, as far as I could see, were stained, remnants of starving men being fed. Some took it to the next level, creating their own version of soup. They mixed their pozole with the rest of their jailhouse lunch, the bread, the cheese and bologna, the mayonnaise and mustard, animal crackers, celery sticks, even the powdered fruit punch drink mix in the revolting stew. The buzzer rang and the inmates retreated back to their cells, full and happy. The lunchtime apocalypse was over. The noise subsided and the building was quiet again. Reruns of Charmed played on the television screens of the day room. My cellie crawled back into his bed. I hopped on my bunk and stared at the ceiling. It was 10:30 a.m., and in a few hours, it would be dinner time.
After too many years of inner hell, destroying the beauty of my inner shell, trapped within the abysmal mental well, escape seems impossible. Yell! I scream for any kind of peace to enter my life and provide relief. Heal thyself while quieting the beast. No more confusion, phony religious beliefs. First things first, I must abstain from drugs. Second, it is imperative I must embrace love. Third, but not least, genuinely look to above. But the walls are closing, cooking my blood, relentless battling, insidious devil demons. Numerous compassionate people give reason for me to live and love in all seasons. Escape my inner prisoners, outer heathens. Tirelessly I attempt to flee the pit. Hopelessness never helped me one bit. It is time I dig deep and get a grip. Brilliant in resilience, bounce back, coexist. Change the channels before I perish.
As I gaze at my flawed perfection, that hypnotic image of imperfection, I am reminded of my life and all my rejections, those times when I was left out through the process of elimination. So, should I feel less than that I was taught to be? It is not within my nature to believe in me. Am I to be that failing class deemed worthless by society, or am I more than what I see with the ability to succeed? I look upon my hand and conjure visions I can't stand. The images I see, they haunt me like a dying man. It's not guilt or remorse I foresee for all the pain I've caused, but a need to free myself from any feelings of emotions, no matter what the cost. Twisted like a car wreck, trying my best to ignore the pain, for it never ceases, but sustains and slowly gains. I am blinded often by this curse, till I can't bear to hear my name. I crawl about in my tortured soul, hiding from the shame. So I close my eyes to darkness and the image I despise, the fearless one who wanders through my dream and mind's eye, the quicksand of my thoughts that threaten to drown me in despair, keeps me swimming while I'm sinking, silently crying, 'cause I'm scared. If I exist within myself, can I deny my true belief? My silent pain exists to hide from others all my grief, but do they matter? All the ones who see my pain? Should I care about them? who allow my identity to be tamed. I am not that animal in the cage who gets saved. I am a sentient being you cursed because I misbehaved. Once you taught a child to live, but now you teach them to survive. So many images in my mind, and all of them are lies. Now I must face the dawn of when I cannot run and hide, when all my insecurities will show themselves with pride. Those images I hate to see that haunt me in the night. Those images that I deny that make me cry from fright. Those images I cannot stand that make me feel inferior. It is the image I must face, staring back at me from my mirror.
Reflection. A simple jail cell. On the stage left wall is a mirror. The rest of the cell is very sparsely furnished. Bunk beds are on the stage right wall. A flat next to the mirror hides a secret compartment where one of the characters is hidden. Adam Sharp, an attractive man in his 40s, studies himself in the mirror for a moment, then begins to shave with an electric razor. The voice of Loco comes from within the secret compartment next to the mirror, so that it appears the voice is coming from the mirror.
Square-ass motherfucker. Too bad they don't give your ass a straight razor so you can just cut your throat and put us both about misery.
What the?
Yeah, motherfucker. I'm not that easy to get rid of.
Adam steps away from the mirror and tries to shake off what has just happened. He turns back to the mirror.
I don't believe this shit. This shit ain't real.
Loco steps out of the mirror and smiles.
Is this real enough for you?
Loco is the 20-year-old version of Adam.
You may want to get rid of me, motherfucker, but whether you like it or not, I'm a part of you.
See, you haven't changed.
Fuck, I gotta change for. I'm a real-ass crib. You're the one that changed. Look at you. Soft as fuck.
We're too old for name calling.
Yeah. Well, you're too old to be acting like a little bitch.
No, I'm glad you're here because I want to tell you that your services are no longer needed. I'm letting you go.
Letting me go? Your podcast ain't nothing without me.
I'm a better man without you. You put us in here. 20 plus years we've been in prison. Now it's time for me to go home, and it's time to let you go.
Motherfucker, I saved you. I made you.
No, I made you.
No, you created me. You had to. You were nothing. Scared, insecure. You created me. All the way back in the 7th grade, in that Mexican neighborhood. You wasn't out. You wasn't no punk at first. You'd fight anybody. Hell, you fought almost every day. Then them essays jumped your ass in.
We don't need to relive that. We were both there, and...
That's right. So don't be acting all brand new like you don't remember. If you're about to let me go, I can say my piece. And you're gonna have to listen.
Fine.
Damn right.
Say what you gotta say.
Yup. And I will. Because your punk ass ain't gonna stop me. Just like you couldn't stop it when them essays jumped your ass. You're a little bitch after that. Walking around with your tail tucked. You wouldn't even stand up for yourself. There was no fight left in you.
You done? Because that was then and this is now, and the fact remains the same. I gotta let you go.
Shut the fuck up!
All right. Speak your piece.
I don't need your permission, cuz. So like I said, you were beaten. Mommy and daddy had to move because you was a mark and...
I wasn't a mark and I fought back every time.
Yeah, but only after they got onto you. Why the fuck were you waiting for them to attack you? You knew it was coming. Motherfucker, they was calling you racial slurs all day. You supposed to get off first, cuz. Make them niggas feel you, cuz. Slice one of them motherfuckers up. Let the rest know you ain't to play with, nigga.
All right. Just finish your damn story.
We moved to Pomona. The city was about half black and half Mexicans. And we were beefing. Blacks against Mexicans. Finally, got tired of being a victim. They created me. I took over, and you were never a victim again. I think you owe me a thank you, you ungrateful bastard. instead of trying to get rid of me.
I don't owe you shit. You got it all wrong. The truth is we were still victims. We just victimized ourselves. We did shit without considering the consequences. You want to talk about when we moved? That first damn year you incited a race riot. Got us expelled from junior high.
I didn't incite shit. That was gonna happen anyway. All day there was tension because of the riot at the high school the day before. Then on the front lawn, after school, nobody was going home. Blacks on one side, Mexicans on the other, mean mugging each other.
Yeah, and you volunteered to talk to the Mexicans. You knew what you were doing. But you said maybe 5 words to the dude before you hauled off and punched one.
So what? How many times they jumped you without saying nothing? A couple of times they damn near killed you. So you can't be putting that whole riot on me. You wanted your get back. You wanted that riot.
Maybe I did.
Maybe.
Okay. I did. But you got out of control. Man, you went to some next level shit after that, robbing people, shooting at people. You're the reason we've been in this hellhole all these years. My brother died. Dad died. Our wife died. We could never go to the funerals because we were here. Now I'm leaving and I can't take you with me because you'll land me right back in here.
Yeah. Go ahead. Blame it all on me. Like you weren't there. You created me. You needed me. I protected you. You want to talk about prison? The truth is, you wouldn't have made it in prison without me.
I wouldn't even be in prison if not for you.
Bullshit! You still would have been here. Only difference is, you would have been a pussy. You wouldn't have made it, not without me.
You keep calling me a pussy. But you the pussy. You never stood on your own. Hey, you always needed to be with the homies. I'm the only one who stood up on my own 2 feet like a man.
Shut your scary ass up. You still call me when shit gets real. Like when that riot broke out a couple of years back. Who'd you call?
I didn't call nobody.
Brother, you called me. Otherwise, your scary ass would have ran or laid down and got stabbed. Look at you. I'm ashamed to be with your ass.
What about you? You got no self-control. You just do whatever you want and to hell with the consequences. You're immature, impulsive, and reckless.
At least I'm not spineless. Walking around scared of any little write-up. All you talk about is the board. And then you go in there and you kiss their white asses begging for your freedom like a damn slave. Please, master, I won't do it no more. What the fuck is your pride? Wanting all those corny ass self-help groups.
The groups aren't corny. I needed the groups to unlearn all the bullshit I picked up to uncreate you.
The groups are corny. They're bullshit. Criminal Gangs Anonymous? What the fuck is that? We addicted to gangbanging now? What? We in the fucking cell scratching and shit, jonesing for a drive-by? Make it make sense, Adam.
We were addicted. And you're still addicted to the lifestyle. To the lifestyle, to the power, fast women, fast money, and the thrills.
I ain't addicted to shit. I sell dope, I don't do dope. But you're right. I do love the lifestyle. Power, respect, women, money, thrills. Who the fuck don't want that shit? That ain't addiction. That's human nature.
Whatever. You can say what you want. Bottom line is, I took the groups. I stayed out of trouble and the board found me suitable. I did that. Now I'm going back to society. I'm not taking you with me.
Loco moves close to Adam, their nose to nose.
Oh, so you hard now? Do you think you can take me? Come on, cuz. This is it. You and me to the death, motherfucker.
I'm not gonna fight you. That's your thing, not mine. But you're right about one thing. I'm going to kill you. Because without me, there is no you.
That's what I
And
thought.
I'm leaving.
You got nothing. You ain't shit.
No, I had nothing. Now I got a chance for everything.
Adam moves away from Loco. The sound of a prison door opening with a clank. Adam turns back to Loco.
Bye, Loco.
Adam exits stage right. The sound of the cell door is heard closing. Loco is alone. He rushes toward where Adam exited, but can go no further.
Hey, motherfucker. You just can't leave me here. Alone. After everything I did for you. You bitch!
He turns back toward the mirror and talks to himself in the mirror.
It's cool. It's cool. You'll be back. You can't make it out there without me. It's a tough world out there. They eat little punks like you up. You need me. This life is all we know. You'll be back, and I'll be right here waiting, because your bitch ass gonna need me when this shit gets real. Please, don't leave me.
End of play. And that's the end of the first half.
If you cannot find one positive thing from the N-word, its power must be left unsaid. The power must lie dead, poisoned fruit, poisoned deeds. The N-word must remain dead, its power unsaid. Emmett Till, you decided to kill yelling the N-word. Lies the bodies of too many dead, too many walking dead. Every time you utter the N-word, its power must be left unsaid. The name on my CDC card is Bruce Gordon. Some of the guys call me Batman. Yeah, they're just having fun. I don't mind. The name I prefer is Najee. Yeah, it's Arabic. The translation is survivor. When I converted to Islam and had to pick out a name, it seemed like a perfect choice. Most of the people around here are pretty respectful and call me Najee. Every once in a while, I get some guard, usually a newbie, who insists on calling me Gordon. I know some people think converting to Islam is just some sort of gimmick or defiance. It's certainly no gimmick. But if taking back ownership of your life is defiance, then I guess you might think I'm being defiant. I take my faith seriously. Without it, I probably wouldn't survive in here. But I'm not into judging what other people believe. We all do what we gotta do. Once in a while, I got to do a little educating. I had a female guard who wanted to pat me down, and that sort of contact is strictly forbidden within the faith. I could have gotten all pissy and just said that wasn't going to happen. That probably would have landed me an AD seg. Instead, I decided to take the high road and very calmly explain to the guard about my faith. She actually listened. And we compromised. One of the male guards was called over to do the pat down. And there are other things I won't give into that, strictly speaking, don't have anything to do with my religious beliefs. Like if a guard asks me where my house is, I give him my address in the world. I mean, if I give in to accept this place as my home, I got no chance of living up to my name. Najee. Survive.
When I was 6 years old, I got sent home from school. I'm not even sure what I did. Probably pushed the kid down on the playground. Hell, I may have even smacked him. Just some stupid kid shit, I'm sure. The teacher sent a note home with me. I didn't even read it. I just handed it to my mom. She read the note and smacked me upside my head. The note said I was a social retard. Folks weren't so politically correct in the old days. I didn't even know what a retard meant, but since my mom smacked me, I figured it couldn't have been good. When I finally figured out what a retard was or meant, I was almost relieved. I felt like someone was giving me a pass to behave like an idiot. And folks around me didn't waste any time using the label as an excuse for all the dumb shit I did. Eventually, I started using myself. Like, Hey, I can't help myself. I'm a social retard. As I got older, the label changed, got a little more severe sounding. Some shrink said I was a sociopath who lacked empathy. My first impulse was to kick that doctor's ass. But when I was alone, I wanted to cry, remembering the boy who was a social retard. But I figured I couldn't cry because I lacked empathy.
Hey, Miss Smith. Just wanted to tell you how much I like what you wrote for that creative class, writing class. Not bad for a sociopath.
I prefer social retard.
Ah, there you go. Own your shit. It's all crap from the past anyway. Don't say that, man. You're no sociopath or social retard who lacks empathy.
Those were the labels I got, the ones they gave me.
That's right, the ones they gave you. You don't have to buy it.
No, but I gotta live with it. And I have. I even got good at using it. It gave me an excuse to act a fool.
That crap is in the past. It's not who you are now. I've read your writings, and you're intelligent and funny as hell. I'll tell you who the sociopaths are. Some of those people who labeled you. I've known you for years, and the man I know has shown more empathy than all the a-holes who try to put you in a box.
We live in a box.
Not up here.
I was made fun of as a child. I didn't have brand name shoes or fancy clothes. I felt self-conscious, isolated, abandoned, ashamed of myself. Things weren't much better at home. My peers bullied me. A girl said I was ashy and called me ugly. A group of boys laughed and poured milk on my head. I was attacked and dangled over the railing of a balcony, the way Michael Jackson dangled his baby. By the time I reached 8th grade, I stopped caring about what people thought of me. Why should I?
You can find beauty in anything. It's all in your mind. You can control your emotions. You can't let your emotions control you. Mental health and courage will get you through any period of adversity. In prison, you can find beauty by just letting go. Just let shit happen. You can only control yourself while you're in prison. You have control over nothing but yourself. Worrying about things you have no control of will only cause you to crash. The beauty in prison is your inner peace.
Afraid to let go. I fought through the hard and hard to keep my life, even running at a young age, as though I could keep it. I hid in New York until I could no longer stay, and once again, I ran. Joined the military. Got lost in the wars and sorrows that came with signing on the dotted line. I found a new reality at the bottom of the bottle. Yet I was still running for my life, never having a place I could call home or rest my head. I'm tired, so tired. I've come to a bridge and a river I must cross, another road to follow. I had to consider, was I homeless by choice? Have I chosen to experience unhappiness, doubt? What has all this yielded me? Perhaps it's time for me to lift my head up and return from the place I ran away from and give my life to the one who gave me life.
I have not found the recipe for contentment or peace within the confinement I find myself in. Each cupboard is bare except for cans without labels. Contents surely unknown. Hungry for peace, I contemplate opening the first can. Hesitant of what I might find inside, I shake the can hard, listening, praying for contentment inside. Pushing my pride aside, I drop to my knees, close my eyes, and cry, conceding I will never find peace inside. The recipe is on the other side of the door, from death to life.
How can any punishment fit a crime? Or for that matter, the crime fit the punishment? I flipped the hourglass of crime and punishment by committing first-degree murder, believing I could get away with it. Maybe that's the mystery I will never understand. What I do understand is someone died at my hands. The crime, the punishment. I live with both each day. At times, the punishment fits the crime. At other times, it's questionable. I flip the hourglass back over. Nothing changes. The punishment and crime remain the same. It happened.
3:15 a.m. I wake and find myself in this dark cavern, but I'm not alone, though it feels that way. The cavern is cold yet alive. It's filled with broken promises, tales of abuse, addiction, and misdiagnosed mental illness. It is the living space of men, so many whose potential is untapped and marginalized. I so often feel like a salmon with less success, swimming upstream against the formidable opponent that is systematic oppression. But my will to overcome and outlast the onslaught of emotions and psychological inhibitors is, to some degree, superior to my having radical acceptance of social norms which retard my maximum potential. I am fueled and refueled daily by despair and hope coexisting around me and inside me every single day. The need to be victorious while the statistics and the odds could prove my efforts futile. I meet the enemy head on, diligently fighting and struggling to be on the side of the lower number, a part of the few that have defied the odds. Like a phoenix, I see myself rising from circumstances in spite of the demographic who finances their lives at my expense. No longer accepting the primers that lead me to a belief system predicated on I can't do this or that. My choices scream, I can, I must, I will. It's 3:15 a.m. I wake to find myself in this dark cavern. Wait. There is a glimmer of light flickering in the distance. It calls me. So, if you will, excuse me. I have to take this call.
Mi nombre es Manuel. No me doy por vencido. Tengo gente que me ama y me respeta. Yo me paro por lo que yo creo. Yo creo en mis metas y en mis sueños. Está bien no saber todo. Hoy escojo ser positivo. Yo puedo hacer lo que sea que mi mente lo desea. Yo puedo ser mejor la próxima vez. Todo va a estar bien. Yo merezco ser amado. Yo puedo hacer una diferencia. Yo tengo el poder de hacer mis sueños realidad. Buenas cosas vienen hacia mí. Yo importo. Mis ideas positivas crean sentimientos positivos. Hoy yo camino sin miedo. Yo estoy abierto y listo para aprender. Si me caigo, me vuelvo a levantar. Hoy solo me comparo yo a yo mismo. Hoy va a ser un buen día.
The early morning fog settled in, cascading across the field outside my building. With zero visibility, the sounds from the birds become my guide. moist air triggers my thoughts. It was the same feeling when I sat next to the Golden Gate Bridge in the city. I've never longed for anything besides freedom, and in that moment, I was free. Now I long for those moments in my life that I paid little attention to. Blinded by dysfunction and consumed by ignorance, kept from enjoying the natural fruits of the universe, the ocean, the birds, the people. I hope my situation can become an example to those who lose their way. I've spent many years in prison, and my sentence is almost complete. As the fog begins to vanish, I can see the arch from the bridge on the horizon, and the next phase of my life approaches. With longing comes hope, and hope leads me home.
Just about everyone experiences fear in one form or another. In the right light, I could be scared of my own shadow. What confuses me is that I can also be fearless in extreme situations. What's the worst that could happen? Death, you would think. And although I don't want to die as much as the next man, I have to say that how I would die is what triggers my fear. Bullets flying by my head from an occasional drive-by brings a mixture of fear and excitement. I remember one time rushing home with excitement to show a bullet wound to my girlfriend. At the same time, I'm terrified to take a hook out of a live fish, and if I had to gut the fish to stay alive, I'm not sure I could do it. I've had encounters with lions, bears, spiders, bulls, and wolves, all of which made me fear that my life was in danger. Still, I've had no problem in the past driving recklessly or using drugs, but somehow I freeze up if a mouse runs by my feet. As a kid, I was afraid to go to sleep because I was haunted by falling in my dreams. Now, as an adult, I'm willing to face my fears. All of them.
I live in fear of the unknown, of not knowing how life will look once freedom comes. I fear being old and not being able to work as hard as I can. I fear not being able to buy a house. I fear time and aches and pain and needing a cane. Most of all, I fear needing a caregiver when I'm older. But what's weird to me is that I do not fear death. Never have.
They say that death and taxes are the two inevitabilities that no one can rid themselves of. Even though everyone is aware of an impending end to their existence, not many think about it. I woke one day with a dark, heavy thought that refused to depart. It felt like I was tied to a conveyor belt, and it was moving towards this huge, dark void. I startled myself awake with my heart pounding at the speed of a bullet train. Trying to gather my bearings, I said to myself, so this is what it would feel like, a scared, involuntary submission to an impending end? What is that dark void? What happens after death? Are heaven and hell real? If so, where will I end up? My life accomplishments, I don't think it will be heaven. Is it ending up in hell my destiny? Too many questions with no answers. Look at these people around me. I don't think anyone gives a fuck about death. They are so comfortably numb towards it. Why isn't anybody thinking about finding answers to what happens after death? I can't think of anything else. I've lost so much time already. I've got so much to do. Should I just subscribe to the same thought process of not giving a hoot about the inevitable and make things simpler for myself? It definitely sounds easier when nobody knows the answer to life anyway. What kind of funeral would I want? I'll be dead already. Would it even matter? Burial or cremation? Both sound sadistic. But who cares? I'll be dead. I won't feel a thing. I guess the kids can at least divide my ashes amongst themselves, so cremation might be the most logical thing to do. I don't even know if they want to keep portions of my ashes. I never asked them. To be frank, it does sound creepy. I think they should go for the cheapest option. Why waste money on a dead man? Hey, I do feel a little lighter as I think about my death. The more I mull over my impending demise, the less I feel about the sting of death. So that's how it feels to be part of the comfortably numb group. It's not so bad. I can look forward to it. At least I won't have to deal with the back pain anymore. Look at that. A silver lining in the clouds of darkness. Pink Floyd was right. Being comfortably numb feels all right.
The secret of enjoying life, being human, inside we burn. What makes us happy, we yearn. With reasoning we discern, it's not always what we see with the optic eye, which makes it easy to see a lie. Or what we hear with an ear, we learn to see and hear with our heart, in search of finding strength so life doesn't fall apart. The secret of enjoying life, learn to love, as though blessings from above. Cherish the memories in time as though they're precious jewels stored in your mind.
Left alone in a world where there is no privacy. No privacy because my life is a window for the countless eyes that won't stop eyeing me. I said there ain't no more privacy, so I refuse to suffer in silence with this pain I've been hiding inside of me. Yes, there is no privacy. So finally, I have to expose these lies that they done lied to me. That they lied to me. Damn, y'all. They lied to me. But I still stood up and told them, great, I gotta be. Hate on me. So there's no mistaking when I'm proving everybody wrong who doubted me. And I mean everybody who doubted me, especially the ones I had on the side of me, who confided in me privately, telling me till the wheels fall off, they're riding with me.
A big blue sky over the forest and the river below. The vast valleys and the coast, everything is yours. Sometimes, if I'm lucky, I can see the sun, passing cloud, or the moon from afar. I cannot say your world is not beautiful. I can only say it's not mine. If one day we could trade places, I'm sure you would understand.
I imagine things will someday get better. Dreaded moments can't forever last. If I close my eyes to see the future, there's only sunshine and night's bright stars. The present says I'm dreaming. There are obstacles on the way to overcome. I got to keep on trying. I imagine a better life.
All my life, I've been isolated from people. Since I was a child, all I wanted was to be left alone, to wander around places, and to have the least contact with people. I never felt comfortable around others. I tried to befriend strangers, people who would understand me, but never felt good around others. Trying to find out who I am, where I came from, or where I would go. People ask too many questions. As soon as they meet me, they want to know my life story. I never had anything worthy to talk about. Only silence comforts me. And with the wind blowing at my face, knows where I will go. Cold nights await me. A place to rest is unknown. The sun is awakening. Time for me to roam. Need to find shelter. Best if I'm alone.
I find it extremely difficult to measure time in the traditional sense. I have no important place to be, no errands to run, no appointments to keep. I'm confined in a situation where time does not exist. Every season's the same. Every month and day of the month are identical. Every hour is 12 o'clock. I continue to expand my sanity using faith as my psychological compass. My trepidation is not of the dark. It's not knowing the light. So I measure time with patience and prepare for the sun.
Why am I here? I'm here for failure of learning the correct etiquette of the American citizen. Can I have How to Be a Better Robot for 500, Alex? I am here to be punished for the social construction exam, for completing the task of becoming an engineered sociopath. That is anti-social behavior as defined by those on the right side of the aisle. I am here to form a relationship with the black incarcerated mind. I am here trying to really trying really hard to understand how I could have, for most of my childhood, studied slavery and all the horrific facts that accompany oppression and servitude, then, no sooner than I became an adult, rushed to the front of the line to volunteer my service. 45 years to life. That should do for slavery and servitude. I am here fulfilling the actualization of an institutionalized mentality, its cultivation and its harvest. I am here struggling and fighting bouts with the hypomasculinity syndrome. It's not just a social disease, it's also a survival tool. Go figure. So you ask, why am I here? I am here to accomplish all those things and then destroy the ugly side of the symbiotic relationship known as normal. That's why I'm here.
This is the last piece, and this is for Loren. There are holes in my life. All the people with whom I've spent vast amounts of time are either dying or otherwise moving on. I often see or hear people that are gone. It's disconcerting to see across the yard and wonder where he's been. My mind takes its time pondering these things. Several minutes go by before I realize that's not Tim. Tim's been gone for months. He paroled. Then I'll see Brian and wonder what he's doing here. Last I heard, he was in Orange County. Then I remember Brian died 4 years ago. The last time I broke down and cried in public, couldn't stop blubbering. Man, it hurt. I'm standing in line to go into the chow hall for breakfast. I hear a voice behind me. Damn, that sounds like, who does it sound like? Several minutes are lost while I try to figure out who owns it. Finally, I turn around. I don't see anyone I know. That voice, though, it reached into the deep cavern where my memories reside. It tickled something that brought a bloom of joy with it. What about the lieutenant I passed the other day? He was sleeved with colored ink. The sight of him made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Fear and loathing washed over me. I knew I'd run into him before in some bad place somewhere. Some place I've managed to push way down there in a deep, dark hole. I immediately knew that I did not want to visit that place again. Felt like I was lucky to have survived it the first time. Earlier today, I saw a silvery head of hair on a long, lanky fellow across the yard. Right away I thought, it's odd that Monty's out and about at this time of day. After all these years we've spent together, I know his program as well as I know my own. Seeing him then and there was definitely odd. Now I remember. He paroled last week. He's not here. That magnificent head of hair wasn't his. I'm too young. I couldn't have known all these people that aren't here anymore. That's what I tell myself. This isn't true. I'm not that young. I did know them. Some are ghosts. Some are just gone. They've faded in the recesses in my mind. There will come a day when I'll be able to plumb those spaces. Each and every person who resides there will come clear to me. Maybe then I won't get lonely like I do. Till then, I'll do a little more pondering on it. thought if you guys wanted, we can ask a few questions about anything, and also I asked Henry Frank, who works for William James, if he would mind coming up, and if you have any questions for him about the program, feel free. So, you want to come on up? Henry is a wonderful artist and teacher also, who teaches. Where do you teach?
CMF,
Oh, okay.
so California Medical Facility in Vacaville.
Can you get a seat?
Sure.
So if you have any questions for me, for Henry, even for any of the guys who are here, that would be, we're open for questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
So all of the pieces that were read by the individual actors were from the students?
Yeah, they're all from the students.
Okay.
I would say that 98.9% of them were theirs, and 1% of it was a little bit of editing, but not much. I tried not to mess with anything. You know, occasionally I'd fix something, but I didn't really have to, and I didn't want to actually. I wanted it to be their words.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The dialogue at the end of the first half, you know, where the two guys at Gordon's talking to himself, who wrote it? Can you tell us a little bit about who wrote that?
Yeah, he's a guy who's actually in my class. His name is Adam Sharp. He's, I mean, all the guys are talented, but he has a real sort of a natural instinct for theatrical stuff. That was his idea. The whole thing was his idea, and he created the whole thing. He's written probably, I don't know how many pieces. Since he's been in the class, it's only been 6 months. He's written at least 6 or 7 short plays. And I've got over the years, I've got at least 2 full-length plays that we wrote together. I've got a ton of monologues, a bunch of 10-minute plays. I could do this forever and never get everything done. Yeah,
Is this over a certain time period?
since 1998 to the present. So like I said, I've got a lot. A lot of the stuff I did tonight is a little more recent, but there's other stuff that I'd like to go back and do. Yeah.
Have any of the inmates seen their work performed by actors?
You know, they haven't so far, but one of the reasons I had Will, who very generously helped tonight and filmed everything, I'm hoping that once we put it all together, I can take it in so they can see it.
Wow.
I think that'll be fun.
Do you have the equipment in the class where you can do that for them, Richard?
It depends on the prison, I guess. Some of the institutions do. They'll have to screen it. They won't just let me bring it in and show it. You know? So there may be some institutions where they say, no, you can't show that. Although do you see anything that you think is crazy about?
Really the concepts, but I think it's changing right now. So
Yeah.
you might have some leeway in there, like 10 years ago.
Yeah, they've actually become much better over the years. I know initially when I was started teaching, once somebody was released, I was not allowed to have any contact with them at all.
Really?
Yeah, but that's changed. So it's much more, now it's much more open than it was.
That's kind of what I was going to ask. Have you heard, you said none of your students ever came back.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever find out, did any of them ever get into the industry? Did they go on to do something with their creative projects?
I had a reading down in LA. When was that, Ron? Was that a couple of years ago? About 3 years ago, and I had posted something on Facebook, and one of my students who has been released showed up for the reading. And I hadn't seen him in years, and he's written a book. It's been published. I think it's called Sparrow on the Wire. Have you read it? Yeah. So he's written some stuff. I was hoping, there's a guy who lives in Stockton, and I was hoping he would be able to make it tonight, but I guess he couldn't. he wrote the piece to his mother, the letter. And then the other guy in San Francisco, he's going back into the institution, which a lot of guys do, and working with incarcerated guys, particularly veterans. He was a veteran. He was a Vietnam vet. And he's a really talented. The next to the last piece was one of his. And the one about, I'm taking a call at 3:15 a.m. I'm going to take this call.
Oh, yeah.
That was his piece too.
Yeah, how do people learn about the program and sign up for it within the prison? Is it easy to find creative people that want to do this?
It depends on the prison, but most of the time we were using just flyers and a sign-up. Since they introduced RAC credit and milestones, which are programs that help people experiencing incarceration get shorter sentences, like during the year. I think you can earn up to like 12 days off or something like that. Once they went over to that program, it was kind of like just who's ever at the top of the list gets into that spot. But they're finding out, that isn't the perfect plan, so there's been some leeway to actually get people in our class that wants to be there.
Yeah.
And a lot of the other ones are anywhere from like 6 weeks to maybe 24 weeks, and you got a couple year programs. But for the arts, for William James, the Prison Arts Project, there isn't like you do 6 weeks and you get out because you learned everything you could. An artist, an actor, a writer, musician, they're learning for their entire life their craft, and so they leave when they either get transferred out or they parole or they pass away, or sometimes the college classes, if it competes against this class, you automatically get unassigned, and then you get put into the college class, and then you're on a waiting list for 2 years again to get back in the class. And so we're trying to get more funding so we can have more teachers in there, have more classrooms so we can get through it. And they just had, CDCR had just released a news releasing saying that people that go through community-based organizations like ours has a higher rate of success out there.
So the program is in demand inside?
Oh, yes.
Great.
I know in my program we have 126 people on our waiting list.
Wow.
We had people just get in there because we increased the number, and they've been on the waiting list for 2.5 years.
Yeah, it's the same. I've got, my waiting list is about 20 to 30 guys for each class. Guys get in and they don't want to get out. The only drawback to the RAC credit thing that he was talking about is that you do occasionally get guys who are just in there because they want to get the credit. So, but they get weeded out sort of on their own, because they get bored. And the other guys to some extent sort of police them in their, The one other thing I was just going to want to say too is that there's all sorts of prison politics. I don't want to go into all that. But what I find really fascinating is when they come in the classroom, there's absolutely none of that. I don't feel it anyway. Guys who on the yard wouldn't even talk to one another. But they get in the classroom and they're interacting, they work together.
They're writers.
Yeah, they're writers. I had one year I had a group, and we literally, just for fun, they said, we want to write a play. I said, okay, well, let's write a group play. So every week we would get together and we'd sit in a circle and we wrote the play. And it was, some of it was we read some of it tonight, little bits and pieces of it. So it was, I think one quick funny story, because I told the guys last night this story. Guys get nicknames in prison. And I was teaching, this was a couple years ago, I don't remember where it was, it might have been Folsom. And I was walking across the yard, and I heard somebody yell from across the yard and said, "Hey, Pops!" I looked around, I'm like, who the hell is he talking to? And it wasn't even a guy in my class. And he looked at me and he said, "Yeah, you're Pops." So for a while, that was my nickname. I don't know if it felt good or not. I'm that old that I'm Pops. So, Yeah.
I wonder if anybody on stage has seen Sing Safe, the movie, and if they have, what they think about it.
I don't, has anybody up here seen it?
I need to, some of my favorite actors in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the guys in the movie actually were incarcerated. You know.
I actually think all of the people that were in the group that created the play together, except for Coleman Domingo.
Yeah. I think they all
the
were.
The second lead was somebody who was in prison and came back. He got out and they brought him back to do the film.
Wow.
I know at Solano, this is a great story too. They had they keep it comes and goes. They had a Shakespeare class, which, and I went and saw. They did a production of Othello, and the guy who played Othello was really good, and he got released, and he ran into Leslie. I think. Do you know who runs Marin Shakespeare?
Leslie Courier.
Leslie was teaching the class. She ran into him on the street and she said, "Listen, we're casting Othello at Marin," and he got the job. Wow. I didn't get to see it, but I heard he was really good.
I did. He was really good.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
He'd been in for 25 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think Charles Dutton also had been in, and I know Danny Glover, who he came with me one time to the prison. Because he's a big supporter of the programs. I think maybe his brother might be in San Quentin. I'm not sure. San Quentin is the sort of gold standard for the arts. I get guys in my class all the time. They want to be transferred to San Quentin because they have the most programs. I think.
Rich, don't they have a radio show that
I
they
think-
do out of San Quentin?
Your hustle.
I think they do.
Your
podcast.
But that gentleman
Podcast.
has since been released, so they still produce it, but he's outside producing it.
And did they not stick with the radio show in terms of continuing it?
I'm not sure how it's produced, but the gentleman who was the co-host of it, eventually paroled, but they continue to produce that program.
I wanted to give Henry a chance to talk a little bit about William James and how they're funded, just before we go, if you want to share any of that.
Sure. We actually get funding from the CDCR. You know, we kind of, not just us, but community-based organizations throughout the state. But since we're an art-based organization, we go through the California Arts Council and we do like a bidding and let them know where we want to teach at. Currently, we're in 10 prisons right now, up and down the state, and I think we employ 56 people. And this is after a 46% reduction in everything because of what's going on financially throughout the state and throughout the country. So we're just hoping that we'll be able to maintain what we have. There is no guarantee, but we will be able to get the bid again. However, we also have just donations from everyday people, some from some organizations that donate, and it helps probably with maintenance of the office and stuff like that, but the main donor is from CDCR because of that rehabilitation part. So to keep it in perspective, they get like a $13.7 billion budget, and they just got cut $500,000, so they only get 13.2 this year. However, we get less than 1% as in the CBOs across the state. We just do our best, but there is also a transformative program that works, which is a nonprofit organization that has blanket the CBOs and represent us with CDCR and out in Sacramento. We just had a huge conference here last week, and they tried to get $20 million budgeted into there for the CBO so we can continue what we're doing because, like I was saying, by their own research that we have improved the success of people when they get out looking for, work in the industry, whatever it may be. There's many different things in the arts. And I just like to say about the Marin Shakespeare Company with Leslie, they work with a lot of returning residents and a lot of the people that were acting inside. They get out, they get a job, and they get to go on tour sometimes and stuff like that. And it's a really great program. We were able to get funding from the Art for Justice Fund, And I got together like block printers. I myself was formerly incarcerated, had a life sentence doing 20 years. I've been out 12 years now. I'm actually a communications director for the William James Association, and I teach in CMF, doing a mural on a hospice yard, and along with my co-worker, Sam Tubiolo. And then in the evening, work with Mainline, and we're working on skateboards that they donate to the Humboldt Skate Lab, along with Sherry Hacker's class right here, another fantastic artist and instructor. And then also with San Quentin, and we donate them to this program, and they auction them off, and then that money goes towards the disadvantaged youth in Humboldt County. So, you know, they're doing a lot of great things in there. You know, made some really bad choices in their life. But we are, you know, changing the way we see it, changing the way we approach it, and do our best, you know, to, can't ever make up for it, but we can always do better. And that's what the goal is, just to be better the next day than I was today. And that's for everybody. And, you know, even though a lot of people judge and stigma, but it's changing, it's not even close to what they do inside, you know, how they judge themselves and all this stuff. I've been out, like I said, for 12 years, and I'm still processing the incarceration, the embedded stuff that just sneaks up sometime from a look, from a sound, from a smell, from whatever it may be. And, you know, I think I'm good, and then boom. Luckily, I had the training from the CBOs, and it's not just art, but, you know, it's cognitive, it's learning life skills, communication skills, coping skills, and it all comes into play. It all matters, because I still use it today. And there are people out here that were my teachers inside. Then I, you know, started teaching with them, co-kind of teaching, and then get out here, and we're still friends. We still get together. You know, we still have, you know, little sessions when we need it. But even when I'm alone, I can fall back on some of the teachings that I had in the Putting Away Child's thing, and Criminals and Gay Members Anonymous. If I didn't have that, I don't know if I would have ever got out, because I loved life. It was just, it got me off. You know, it's just really was fantastic in the moment. Now, where I'm at now, I was just a horrible person, you know, making horrible decisions. But the main part is understanding I was still a person, and I'm a person now, and I'm just making better decisions than I used to. And I would think about not how it just affects me, but the ripple effect to my family, my community, you know, society, and how much, you know, things are going to cost for them to, you know, mend what I had destroyed, you know. So, I mean, it's on many different levels. So there are many people in there that are ready to come out. And I know it was about funding and how do we get that, but, you know, if you ever, you know, and we're 501c3 or with 501c3, so, you know, you get your write-off and all that stuff, you know, and you know, I know you don't do it for that, but that's just a cool little bonus that you get for, you know, supporting these groups and these workshops and the men inside who are trying to make a change. And if they're in that class, they made a decision to be in that class to do something different from what they've been doing. And I think that needs to be commended.
I just want to say one last,
So is the name William James based on the famous psychologist and philosopher?
And it started off, you know, with his humanitarian efforts for the people experiencing homelessness. And then I think it was Ella Reese Packard Smith, who was the California Arts Council chairperson at the time, and decided, you know, art changes lives, and, you know, all this stuff. And then started, that's how you got the Arts and Corrections. And then more people got on, and now it's, you know, beyond us into other things, but everybody has a place in there. You know, not one thing will fix somebody, so it's great to have, you know, we have like 80 right now that are community-based organizations, and they're helping the people that they help in different ways.
Okay, I don't want to keep, I know they want to probably kick us out, so, but I just wanted to, once again, the actors were fabulous. I was thinking of one other thing when, you know, in 27 years, there are a lot of myths about thinking, and in the 27 years I've been teaching, I have not had one guy who said he was innocent. I've never had anyone say they were innocent. They take responsibility. At least the guys who come to these classes. You know, so.
I think my characters were innocent.
Well, okay. Anyway, I appreciate it. Thank you all for coming.